It's just if one of us is mad quiet, it's gonna be mad quiet. Does that thing work? Yeah. It's working? It's on?
So should we just like match each other's volume?
Yeah, just match each other's volume, dude. No one can talk louder. But yeah, dude, that's enough fucking...
Inside voice.
That's enough fucking... Yeah, inside voice. That's enough fucking... Or we'll just see if it's too loud. Yeah. Then we'll chill out. But yeah. I was telling Al, you're like a spiritual guide to the pod.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I've been using your damn songs for mad long.
Dude, I appreciate that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
That's insane. Sometimes I'll put on like an episode and I won't. It'll hit me like 15 minutes in, like an intermission.
Yeah.
And some shit from like
fire.
Like old on my SoundCloud too.
I'd be digging up in the crates in your SoundCloud, and you'd be dropping shit mad quiet too.
Yeah, I don't really. I used to promote it on like.
It's kind of lame. It's kind of lame to do that shit. To be honest.
Yeah, I don't want to. Like, I don't know. I think it's better like how you like if you find it, that's just like you found it without me sharing it. So
dude, I was thinking about that. I go back and forth with that, but so what's our connection like? I guess from the pod, I guess 4 years ago, March 2021. Yeah. That's when you first reached out to me, and I was editing Tyrant.
Yeah, you had a...
I haven't told this story, or at least not to you, or not directly.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
We've talked about it.
But, I mean, it's nice to... Yeah. It's kind of... because
go closer like this, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, Lindsay Lerman? Yeah, she put out that Real Love. I read that, and I think you... That was while you were editing Tyrant.
Yeah, I reached out to her for that.
Yeah, and I saw that, and so I emailed you, and I sent you that story for feedback for editing.
Yeah.
And it just I was shocked at how like down you were to work on it. And, and you're like, yeah, dude, we can put this up on the blog. Like we both lived in Harlem at the time, so you're like, oh, you can just like we can like meet up. Like print it out, like mark it up, go back, write more. Like I was excited to work on that, and then shit went down, and then it's we both. I think that you left the city, right? And then I left the city. I went to Pennsylvania, and
you had been living in Harlem when you sent to me.
Yeah, I was like
so it was like a year into the pandemic, and then. Literally, I mean, we're hitting all the anniversaries right now, which is kind of time that we're looking and talking, but I started editing in February was the plan, and then I started collecting pieces, and then it was literally only 1 month that I was posting stuff. But around that time, like, mad people were sending me stuff, and it was like all... I don't know. It was all like
you had like an open call. I'm sending him something. I was like,
but mad people were bummed. But it was all like people I knew, like alt lit people, and it was just like I wouldn't really be doing. I don't know. It was like it was alright. I mean that they all I don't need to badmouth everybody, but it was all But then like you messaged me and you said you sent this to McClanahan, and the McClanahan told send it to you, and the shit was just like it was crazy because it was like. The syntax was all crazy.
This was the Fox and the Hound.
It was the Fox and the Hound, but it was like it felt like not like out of like all like I don't know. It just felt like it came out of nowhere because like the syntax was all crazy. And it was like a guy living in a room, all like poor and shit. It felt like a fucking Russian novel. But then like some crazy shit went down in the story, and it was like whatever. I don't even need to harass you about it, but it just felt like so real. But like raw, but then also the syntax was like really surprising and like raw, and then all this shit went down that month, and it was like a weird thing where I felt this indebted. I felt like close to you because we had been like going back and forth about it, and literally that's what I was gonna post next. Like, I mean, I had like a whole thing stacked up, and then Gian died. We were talking about New York Tyrant magazine from 4 years ago. This month.
Yeah, it was March because I moved out right after my birthday. I moved. Yeah.
What were you doing in Harlem?
I was just subletting a room, trying to get by COVID shit.
The COVID shit. We both were in Harlem.
Yeah, it was nice up in Harlem. I liked it up there. I was at 137th in City College, but that story was definitely. I don't know. Yeah, the syntax. I was like I watched the first 48 like religiously back then. Like new episodes every Thursday. I watched that shit, and I was just like trying to write this like like treat it like a police report, and I'm glad that like it. I mean, I don't like it. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like what you're talking about, right? Like, but I like the idea of like, and that's just
that's
like
my classic move. I'm like,
yeah,
yo, you.
I feel like that's everyone.
I think everything.
I didn't want to be like the trope of being like what is it with all lit or so, like no auto fiction. Yeah, like auto fiction, just being like, oh, it's like he lives in New York, like, this guy's in New York, and then you know this guy is fucked up on drugs. This guy's fucked up on drugs, and then it's. So I was thinking like. I don't know, but I was like, let me try to write it from like a crime, like a police report, instead of like me telling my story. Like I wanted it to kind of look, it was the first, I think that story was in third person. That might have been the first thing I like tried to write in third person.
You didn't.
No, it was first person, I think.
Damn, so you were just looking at those stories and you were just trying to write some.
Like
no,
I mean,
out of any reserves.
No, I mean that story. It's not online, so no one can read. It's in like a friend's like print zine they put out, but that was kind of like processing, just like childhood, like a childhood friend of mine. Like she overdosed when she was 17, and then I just the girl in the story. I got some like heat because people were like, oh, you're writing about like a 17-year-old girl, like this guy is like hanging out with this young girl, like, and like part of me was like, okay, yeah, I could push that, like it's kind of like adds to that auto fiction shit where it's like, oh, we don't like him, oh, we don't like the you know, we don't like the protagonist or whatever, but at the same time, I think when I told my like girlfriend at the time about it, I was trying to explain like dealing with like processing my friend's death when she passed at 17. I was trying to put myself like in her like in the room like when it happened. Right. So that was kind of like how, and then I was like, how would I live in Harlem, like how would I, like at the time I live in Harlem, like how would I, if this happened right now, like how would her and I like be in that, like how would I get in the room when that incident happened? So that story, that's kind of what pushed that, and then I was like, let me write it, and then that kind of led to let me write it like an investigation. So it's like there's like a character who comes to pick him up in his Audi, and he needs like they're going to buy morphine, and it's like, it's almost like we have suspects, and like in the we have to spend a lot of time on this because I don't think anyone can read it. But that's what I sent you. That's how we met.
Okay, so it's all coming back to me. That's what it was. I mean, I think it was also like. It was interesting, like, I mean, obviously I was working with Gian for that whole time, and it's funny, like, even now, like, for a while I was, like, only talking to Gian writers and stuff like that, you know, but I obviously have, like, a whole history of writing, like, or I'm my own writer also, you know, but, like, around the time I was thinking about, like obviously I was drawn, you know, Gian has different aspects of or New York Tyrant has different aspects of what it's about, you know? People might be drawn to different aspects of it, but like, I mean, even like an affinity with McClanahan and stuff like that, and even trying to articulate what that is, like it was interesting, like when I was like editing the magazine, and then it was like, I want to do things that are like Tyrant-like, you know, but like also that express my affinities. But then some people's like views of Tyrant is like, people would send me stories like, you know, they'd be like, yo, like I smashed a beer bottle and like shoved my dick in it. And, like, I was just like, bro, like this is like gnarly, but like doesn't really, it's not even for like a point. Like I guess for me it's like, and then sometimes if you think of that kind of stuff, or you know, I mean even like just the Marie Calloway, not Caroline Calloway, the Marie Calloway story. You know about that? You know about that, right?
I was in college when it came out.
Yeah, but like, I mean like you could say it's just like Gian being wild and publishing a crazy ass story, but I think it's like there's also an element of like looking at like people who are like really like the stuff, the kind of difficult stuff in society that people don't want to look at, or stuff people are going through like gnarly shit, you know, and it's not just to throw it in your face, like it's to like humanize things that are like dehuman, like that's what I think is like the core, you know, to me in some level, like, or even like McClanahan admitting so much stuff that he did.
Like it's like
the ground
confessions.
Confessions.
Yeah, that's really what I'd like to try to, instead of auto fiction, it's more, I think, it's better to just confess what you don't, what you're afraid to tell people.
But then it's like it makes people who are on, who kind of fucking feel, because there's like difficult things, and then there's like the shame of difficult things, and like confronting those things has like a positive, like effect on people. That's what I want. That's what I want to think. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think with what you're saying, it's just kind of like shock, like, it's like
shock value.
Yeah, shock stuff, and I kind of went through that when I started, like after the story I sent you, and I was like, what am I going to write now? And I didn't want to follow that like same idea of like I didn't want death, I didn't want OD, I didn't want anything that was like. So I was trying to think of like what is like I kind of, it drove me more towards like family, I think, like, and just kind of feel, because we all have families, so like there's so much there that like you can, I think, write about your, like, not your own family, but writing about, of course, but writing about the like tensions and stuff in that can be, and it's like Scott's so good at that too, with like Hill Williams, like all that stuff. It's like when he the story about like he goes to pick blueberries for his mom, and he like trips and like gets the blueberries all over his shirt, and he's all crying when he goes up to her, and she like takes them all, the dirty blueberries, and starts eating them, and he's just like she's like and he writes about the crunching sound of like the dirt on the blueberry in his mother's mouth. Like for me, that's much more like kind of shocking. Like, to me, it hits me. It hits me. So that, I mean, he's a huge inspiration and support. He supports so much. Like,
McClanahan's a man.
Yeah, and if I could write like him, that would like about. I need to get married, I think, to write. I need to go through some shit to write like him.
I know.
I'm not.
I know.
I'm not experienced yet to write all that.
But that was basically the story. Like it was like. Not to dwell on it, but just since we talk about it, I should say it was just like a guy wakes up in a, he's like living in a room with someone, and then they go on a trip. Yeah, they go on a trip down, and she's doing was it morphine?
Yeah, like morphine pills.
Yeah, and then but it was just told in this really and it was kind of scary. The story was kind of scary, and then she overdosed. Yeah, and that was like the end. Yeah, and it was the cops out, and it was just so weird. I mean, it was also a weird ass time.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't like because I wasn't. I'm not like that was the first story I like wrote. Yeah, and I started 2020, and then I probably like was sending it to 2021. But so I didn't have any friend I didn't know the scene so I don't know.
That's why it was good.
Like I didn't know Tyron writer. Like I didn't know. I followed Tyron.
But you knew McClanahan.
Yeah,
you were drawn to him.
Yeah, I was drawn to him.
I was drawn to him too.
Definitely,
one of the first people.
And Gian and Brad. Like so, I was like those.
Brad.
Brad, so that stuff was.
And Brad does that too, kind of like he goes into some shameful confessions.
Yeah, confessionals.
Yeah,
it's so
Usher confessions, dude.
Dude. Last night at karaoke, I pulled up "Let It Burn."
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
Going
down.
Going through it.
Going through it. Yeah.